Lewis Cocking.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I congratulate the member for Cheltenham for bringing forward this private members' bill. And I do have some reservations about the bill, which I will go through, but let me just say I am minded to support the bill at today's second reading, because this is a much better policy than the current government's line around having large-scale solar farms across all of our farmland across the United Kingdom. So I'd much prefer putting solar panels on new builds than doing that. And I would like to tell the House that councils do already have some powers to be able to do this. I know that one of my local councils, Broxham, when I was leader of the council, has had extensive negotiations with developers, particularly at Highley, where we've managed to get solar panels on some of the houses there. And we've also got a large-scale data centre being built, and we managed to get some solar panels on that. But I do have some concerns. Now, I'm all for taking on developers and making sure they pay their 106 negotiations, making sure they do their community work, and making sure we stand up for the residents we all represent across our constituencies. But a lot of the negotiations I had when I was a district councillor, as leader of Broxham Council, with developers were telling me we would like to put them on more houses, but the district network operator said there isn't capacity to be able to do that. So, for example, we've got a data centre being built, so no one's going to see the top of that data centre. So I was like, cover the whole thing in solar panels. Why would you not want to do that? Why would you not support that? And that was my negotiation position. They went away and had discussions with their DNO, and they said, well, you can only have 25% because there isn't capacity and it can't cope. So I do think we've got to have a discussion around, if we're going to do this, what's the capacity of the grid? Because surely it is a good thing when we've got these large-scale data centres and warehouses in particular. I know this bill specifically focuses on new build properties, around being able to do that across those whole rooftops. And I suppose I would also... Yes, I will give way.
I thank the honourable gentleman for giving way, and he speaks passionately about his constituency. But is it not the case that cheaper battery technology means that people don't have to sell the electricity back to the grid anymore? They can keep it within their boundary and use it themselves?
I thank the member for his intervention, and I was literally just about to say about battery technology. So if he waits just a few seconds, I mean, I suppose this bill does go far in terms of its ambitions around on all houses, and I'll get to all houses in a second. But I suppose we should go further than that, because if we're putting solar panels on houses, we should require those houses to have battery storage as well, which may solve some of the issues around connecting to the grid and have capacity to do that. Now, battery technology is a bit behind the solar panel technology and how better they're getting with efficiency. So I don't believe we're quite there yet at the cost effectiveness, but it is definitely getting there. For example, if you've got an electric car, it does make it more cost effective for you to be able to use that electricity in your car instead of sending it back to the grid. But we must go there, and I suppose I would urge the member who's bringing forward this bill to maybe look at that, because if we're going that one step and having solar panels, maybe we should go that step further and require people that are going to have solar panels to have battery storage as well. But as I said, I am concerned around the red tape we are going to put on new development. And as I've said, look, I'm all for taking on developers, and I see some councillors and former councillors in the chamber who all have probably had vociferous discussions like I have had with developers about them doing their bit. But I am concerned around the pushback we may get and the discussions we have with 106 agreements. Because what I wouldn't want to see is developers then telling their local councils and communities, well, we can't give you money and there's all issues around viability, so I won't go into all of them now. I wouldn't want to see them going, well, we can't give you money for the new school, or we can't give you money towards the doctor's surgery because we've got to put solar panels on housing. So we just need to give some thought about how that's all going to work, because we all want the most community money possible for those roads, schools and GP surgeries that must come with the new developments. And let me just touch on every new home. Now, there will be some homes where this is not suitable to do. I'm fully supportive of the fact where you've got an east-west facing roof, where it's a block of flats, where it's absolutely practical to do it. Of course we should do it. And it's been touched on before, earlier on in debate, by some other members around it is increasingly frustrating where you do drive past a development and you see a roof and it's got 2 solar panels on it. So we've gone through the whole cost of putting up the scaffolding, building the house, but we've put 2 solar panels on it. And I suspect that's because of the issues around capacity and what have you. So we definitely need to look into those. But come on, if we're doing it halfway already on some developments, fill the whole roof with it. Because it doesn't just help them. If they can sell that green electricity back to the grid, that helps everybody. So as I said, I have got some reservations around this bill that we need to go through around where the money is going to come from, and I wouldn't want it to come from schools, education and roads through those 106 agreements. We just need to look at that, and we also need to do some looking around the DNOs and capacity to be able to make sure that we really do harness this. But as I said, I am minded, because this is much better than having large-scale solar farms plastered all over our greenbelt, plastered all over the countryside. I am absolutely minded to support the second reading of this bill today.